Welcome to my first stitch with me. I'm not sure how this will go because I haven't done one before. It's all a learning curve. I have decided that I would do a voiceover because I didn't think I'd be able to stitch and talk at the same time. I'm sure I could have, but I struggle talking in front of the camera at the best of times. This is Vespertide. I started this in November 2021. I'm at 23.71%. I have done 897 stitches today. Admittedly, this has been slow progress for the simple reason that I got bogged down in those trees and I didn't touch it for ages. I probably haven't touched it for 6 or 7 months. But it's nice to actually be working on a different area. I decided that I would work around this light and have a different colour. I will be excited to get down to the Raven. It isn't that far, but I want to bring the whole piece down. Excuse my hand. I decided I would try and zoom up a little bit better and see if this helps. It'll be interesting to hear the feedback of whether close is better or further away. I'm not sure. In editing this, you only see a smallish screen, so that doesn't really help you. It's the 15th of October today. It is after 1 a.m. I decided that this was the perfect time to do the recording because it was nice and quiet. There's no noises in the chimney because it is nesting season, so the birds think that our log burner chimney is a perfect place to have their babies. Normally they think my car is the perfect place, so every time I want to drive anywhere I have to pop the hood and remove the bird's nest and the eggs normally. So that is one advantage with it being at the runoff at the moment because there isn't as many birds there as here. We're at sea level, so it's quite windy here, so the birds are looking for somewhere that's sheltered, so underneath the bonnet is nice and warm. My car's white, so they like the heat that it attracts. My husband's, he has a all-wheel drive, maybe it's four-wheel drive vehicle, and he doesn't have issues with bird's nest under his bonnet. It's just my car, which is frustrating, but nothing you can do about it. Also, there's a lot of noise with our stock at the moment because we've got the calves right next to the house, so they're quiet at the moment. I heard them earlier when I was stitching because they were crying out. They're feeling hard done by because I had a knot I had to remove. They're feeling hard done by because we have been feeding them twice a day again. Normally at this time of year they're down to being fed just in the morning and they have pellets in the afternoon. It means that when they are weaned off milk, there is not such a weaning knock. They don't lose weight. But because we I had to undo, sorry, wasn't in the right place. Because we had all that milk that wasn't picked up by the milk tanker because the milk tanker couldn't get here due to the snow. There was road closures, so they didn't pick our milk up, so we had to dump 8,000 litres. We got extra tanks to put the milk in, and we've been feeding it to calves, so they've been fed twice a day again. So they're feeling very hard done by that they weren't fed tonight, so they were making a lot of noise earlier on. The other advantage is Coco's asleep, so she's not playing, and my husband's asleep, so that makes it a little bit easier. So it's been a busy week. My husband took me into town the other day because he's having issues with his cell phone. He's got an iPhone and he's not able to hear calls very well. I did clean out the speaker port with a needle. There was a lot of dirt in it, but it hasn't made it that much better. So I decided, he's got an iPhone 7. It was time for him to get an upgrade to a new one. I've got a iPhone 11 Pro Max that I don't use apart from recording, because I'm using a Samsung S20, I think it is, for voice calls and text messaging and that sort of thing. I have found it quite hard to change over to Android. It wasn't as hard as just going from Apple to Android because of Pattern Keeper helps, because I've been working on that with years, so it wasn't quite as difficult as just changing. But so we went into town to get him a new phone, and I had to walk downtown, down the street, and we found out that the local store that sells iPhones and Android phones has closed. So we went to the warehouse because we were thinking, oh well, maybe we could get one there, and found out that the warehouse doesn't sell iPhones. It only sells Android phones, and cheaper Android phones at that. Then we went to the local electrical store thinking that we possibly could get it there, but nope, not there either. The only choice was to go through to the local city, and I didn't want to do that because it's an hour and a quarter trip. So that was the end of that idea, so I had to buy it online. Then we went up to the runoff block because our security cameras haven't been working. So I had a look at the system to see what was wrong with that. I have zoomed out to make it easier for me to stitch because I'm struggling to see my stitching as well as the camera see anything. It'll be interesting to see which view is better. As you can see, above is my tablet, so I can mark off on Pattern Keeper. I'm filling it square by square in this area because I want to bring that side down, and then I can work over in the middle, and then I've gone more the royal row way and doing it block by block, and I'm finding it easier because if you have just the odd ninja stitch, I find it quite hard to find them. I had to use the magnifier earlier on today because I was struggling to find where this random stitch was. And this is on 25 count, 1/1. After trying to shop for our phone, we went up to the runoff because I haven't been getting alerts for a wee while on my phone about anybody coming onto the property. I had a look last week, and because I thought that the security system, the recorder just needed to be turned off and turned back on, and it didn't help. And then I had this epiphany. I was thinking, I wonder if it's the internet is the issue. So when we went to the runoff, I unplugged the router and plugged the router back in and realised that no, the internet was not working. So I rang our internet provider to see if they could come and fix it. So they came this morning and they were able to fix it, and they told me that the satellite on the roof had been the electrical radio on it had been fried. They think that had been a lightning strike, so that's why I wasn't getting any alerts. So it was very interesting. Quickly after they got it going, I kept getting all these alerts because there was stock on the driveway and around the house, because we had got contractors up there. They're ploughing the paddocks to get winter feed ready to be planted. Unfortunately, they don't seem to know how to shut gates, so the stock is intermingled. We've got heifers and bulls all together, unfortunately, so that's going to have to be sorted out this week, and it's been a busy week as it is. We had somebody come today to do a pedicure over some of the cows that have feet problems. So they come in, they grind different areas of their hoofs so they can walk better, and they get little shoes glued onto their feet. So if it's an area that's a wee bit sore, maybe it's got a stone bruise or something, that the shoes don't put any pressure on that area so they can walk better. At this time of year, they do a lot of walking backwards and forwards to the cowshed. So we like to make sure that they're in the best condition they can be in. I'm just marking off on Pattern Keeper. Apart from that, we haven't really been doing anything exciting here. The calves are competing with the seagulls for the pellets at the moment. We had about 40 seagulls here. My husband was racing around on the motorbike trying to scare the seagulls away earlier on, because the calves couldn't even get near the pellet feeder, so that was wasting a lot of food. Normally we only have seagulls when the sea's really rough, but I don't think it is rough at the moment. I think it's just the fact that they know that there's feed here and they keep coming back. It's a bit like a smorgasbord for them. We're feeding a lot of ducks as well. We've got a couple of ducks that are living on our lawn because they can just duck out and go get a few pellets and then come back. I keep expecting to see some wee ducklings, but I haven't yet. So I'm not sure if they even had ducklings, or maybe something happened to them, which would be quite sad. Apart from that, nothing exciting happening here. My glasses, it is taking a wee bit to get used to them. I can't use them for stitching because close work, my vision's fine. It's just for distance, so I need them for driving. But I noticed the other day, I was intending on bringing my car home, but I found that after I'd walked or I should say staggered around town. It's totally different walking outside and on uneven concrete than it is walking at home on cushy carpet and having walls near you. So I was thinking, I don't need my walker because I've been really good lately. But not thinking about the fact that you walk up the hallway and you probably touch the walls 3 or 4 times just to make sure that you're still walking straight. So you always have that support of the wall. Well, I think this is about it. I'm not really sure what else to say. I'm sure I've bored you to tears. I'm not sure with zooming out this is very good. I will try to do a stitch with me again. Hopefully I'll get some feedback and I'll know that I need to zoom in a lot closer. Thank you very much. Have a great week. I'd love to see what you're stitching. Just thank you. Bye.